IPTV, a very old friend of mine, Carl Greaves. He's that old a friend. I can even remember him boxing before he fought Michael Gomez. So that shows how old I am and how old maybe he's becoming. Carl now promotes, manages, makes matches, trains. He does everything. Along with John Pegg, he's most probably the hardest working man in British boxing. Carl, thank you for joining us. And how hard are you working during COVID?
Yeah, obviously I've worked a lot harder. I mean, I've had a lot of time to myself. Obviously, we're not doing much management and obviously no shows promoting. But I've been working hard on the gym. I've been doing loads of PTs, built a lot of clients, got a good base now with PTs due to obviously having the time to do them. I've been running my gym, doing my classes that I've always done 2 or 3 times a week, boxercise, keep fit circuit classes, which I enjoy doing anyway because it keeps me fit. And then obviously I've been training my pros that's been coming down which I'm allowed to do.
I mean, you managed to keep Dex Spellman in with a couple nice fights, but you know, it's been, how hard has it been outside of Dex Spellman for you? You know, when it comes to with pros.
Yeah, it's been very tough. I mean, obviously training-wise, I've only had Deck out who I've actually trained and managed. I've had a couple of kids out who have managed. It's got other trainers. Joanville, who had a tough fight against Stephen Ward. I managed Jim, and Chris Pilkington was on a Queensbury show as well. But other than that, it's been very quiet. I've had a few fights turned down and knocked back as well through the opposition not being willing to take the chance against my fighters. I'm not going to go into detail, which has been not been very good as well. Let my fighters down, but other than that, it has been quiet.
I mean, you know, you've got a lot. I mean, how many fighters do you have on your books, Carl? Before I ask the next question.
I think I've got 42 now. Yeah. I had a count up. I had 37, but I've signed a few up in the lockdown. A couple's been announced, and I've got a couple of really good signings that I will announce when we're allowed to, once I've had the interview and been passed by the British Board of Control.
Yeah, out of the 42, how many might you have lost now to boxing? In the sense, you might have a kid who wins fights but isn't going to make fortunes, and suddenly he's earning a few £100 a week working. You know, his missus might not be too enamoured when he suddenly says, I'm going back to boxing to earn £1,200 or whatever, £1,500 for a 4-rounder if I do my tickets.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny you're saying that, because I mean, the ones that obviously the home fighters that sell the tickets that I'm building up, I mean, I've got 18 unbeaten fighters. So obviously none of them would have a chance to fight on behind closed doors, because I don't want them to. I want to build them up and get them to championship level myself. But journeyman-wise, you'd have thought they'd have been banging the drum to be out. But I've spoke to a few of my journeymen, and they're not bothered about boxing. They says, look, I only want to come back when there's crowds, when I can be out every week. I don't want to get myself licensed up, having medicals and be out once in a blue moon. I want to be out regularly. The lads like, obviously, Fonz Alexander and Cass Hussein, they're not interested at the moment, which has been surprising, really, because, to be truthful, my phone has rang for them sort of fighters. I've had a chance to get them out, but they don't seem bothered.
But there's also the COVID situation. I'm not going to name the boxer, but I know of a boxer who is on that circuit, the journeyman circuit. He had a fight fall through. You know, he took a couple of weeks off work. He shed a couple stone as well to get to take the fight, and the COVID killed the fight. Not, you know, through his opponent testing positive, and his attitude is he's just not going to fight anymore until the crowds are back, because he doesn't want to go through that disappointment of actually having to shift the weight over 3 weeks, and there's nothing at the end when he's taken 2 weeks holiday off as well.
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing you've got now as well. It's very very worrying, because we never had no cases at the start of the lockdown shows behind closed doors. For the first probably 2 months, we never had one case. Everyone was clear, all good to go. And now, like the last couple of months, it's been crazy. Every single show, there's been 1, 2 or 3 cases. I mean, we had a couple with the Ultimate Boxer this week. And obviously on Friday, Frank Warren's got 3 that's failed tests, so they're 3 fights down. And
Yeah, just go back.
Yeah.
You said Frank Warren's lost 3, and I lost you from there.
Yeah, I mean, we had the Ultimate Boxer on Tuesday night, well, Boxer, and we had two lots of teams that failed the test. Obviously, there was Kieran Farrell and obviously Ben Ridings, both failed, so we lost one of the contestants for the 4-man tournament. Luckily, we had a reserve. And then Derek Kasozi failed the test, which the strange thing is none of them had any symptoms. So what I'm saying is all these people now, you're getting all these shows, every single show, someone's failing a test, and you're putting all this work in training hard, looking forward to your big occasion on TV, and you're not, until you've actually, you know what I mean, there's that many failing the test, you're not guaranteed of being in that ring now, so a lot of people's getting sick of it, and I think you're going to find that behind closed doors, people are not even going to take the chance now.
Yeah, they're just going to turn the fights down, especially if they're working as well and they have to take a week off work.
Yeah, we're in a crazy world at the moment. There's so much happening. I mean, I had a kid who was going to pay to fight on Clifton Mitchell's show. I mean, he's cancelled the show now next month. And I thought to myself, the kid's got a few quid. Ollie Marple, actually. He was desperate to get out. I said, look, Ollie, let's just wait till we get crowds. But he says, no, I want a box. So he went all the way to Liverpool, had his medicals done, which cost him about 600 quid, got re-licensed up, was going to pay to fight, and obviously the show's cancelled now. But in the meantime, I said, look, Ollie, I said, what if either me or you fail the COVID test? I said, you're still going to have to pay all this money out and not box. I said, it's not worth the hassle and the risk. I mean, he was still prepared to go through with it, but now Clifton's cancelled, so he's not going to be fighting anyway.
What do you think the solution could be to try and, or is there a solution that can try and make it, that fighters beat the COVID, can get through, less fighters can fail these tests? Do you think there's any solution that the board could be involved on?
You know what? The thing is, I mean, Frank Warren this week, I know, well, I'm speaking to Errol Johnson, who's doing a bit of matching, and Steve Furness now with Frank Warren. They have to have tests now before they even get to have the second test with the once they're in the bubble, and they're having tests, and obviously they're passing them testing so they can get down to have the second test for the show. And the crazy thing is, everybody must have passed the first test so they could turn up to have the second test on the Frank Warren show, and they've still had 3 cases fail. Yeah. It's just crazy. I mean, I know.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Go on.
Yeah, I mean, back to Derek Kasozi. I mean, he was mortified. He said, "Look, there's nothing wrong with me. I can't understand I failed a test." So what he did was, I mean, I spoke to Jimmy Gill last night, his manager. And Jimmy said he actually went to a walk-in centre, had another test. That was positive, so that's 2 tests he's failed. And he was still adamant he was all right. So he went for a drive-through one in Nottingham, and there was the army are running that one. And the army bloke said to him, look, he said, blow your nose. It's crazy this. Blow your nose before you have it done. He said, and obviously, because if you don't blow your nose, you've got mucus in your nose, and obviously you're more alive, you know what I mean, more chance of obviously something showing up. So he blew his nose before he had it done, had the test, and it was negative.
Yeah. You know
so it's unbelievable how accurate all these tests, Steve. Yeah. It's absolutely crazy.
I'm not going to name someone else in boxing. They failed a test 6 days before a card. Couldn't believe it. Went and paid for it. This is only a few weeks ago. Paid for a private test the next day, and it came back negative. So there you go.
Yeah, it's how accurate all these tests. I mean, it's very worrying. I mean, all these kids, they're working hard, they're training hard. They need the money now because they've not been working as much as what they usually do. And obviously, there's no chance of him in that ring until they're actually in that ring. You know what I mean? It's not good.
Sorry, my phone was ringing now. I apologise.
Excuse me, Steve.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it.
So, well, we know for yourself, when do you think realistically you'll have boxing back and you can have a proper housing? Because you can't put on a show in Newark or somewhere in the Nottingham region and have 200 people there. It just doesn't add up for you or your boxers. So when are you looking at hoping to promote again?
You know what, Steve? I've said it to people. Until they stop this testing, there's no way I'll promote, because even if we're allowed crowds back, if they're still going to be testing, obviously everyone that's involved in the show, the boxers, the trainers, the managers, the officials, the doctors, the cost of it is just ridiculous. And you've got to then, not just the testing you've got to think about. I mean, I've heard it's £160 a test.
It is private test, yeah.
Yeah, you've also got the hotels to think about. I mean, they've got to be there 3 days before to obviously get your results back. You've got to isolate in your room until your results back. You've got to feed them all. Obviously, whatever, £35 a day food allowance, that's for 3 days. If you've got 50 people being tested, work the sums out. I mean, the cost of obviously that on top of putting the show on as well, it's just scary. I mean, as we know, and obviously Steve Wood will tell you, it's hard enough making money when you've got a full ass with no COVID testing or anything. So can you imagine trying to make money and putting a show on with the testing and the hotels and the food and all your expenses? I mean, I've heard doctors are wanting double money, paramedics are wanting double money, because obviously it's not just turning up to the show now. They've got to be up there 2 or 3 days before. So it's just no way I'll even think about putting a show on until this testing stops. And when I spoke to Robert, he said, I can't give you an answer when the testing will stop, because everything's up in the air. Things are changing every day. We thought we was getting better. We're always looking forward to promoting early next year. But now we're in lockdown again. I mean, what can you do?
And so, that's fair enough. You can't afford to promote until the testing stops. How are your fighters with that? Have you told them that? Or?
Well, I mean, unless we've got some solution or some sponsor who's going to chuck in the money for the testing and everything, I mean, they've got to understand all it comes out of their money, because you know yourself, when you've got no TV, all you rely on is the gate. You know what I mean? You've got the gate to rely on to get over the line with this show. I mean, it's very, very tough. So having all this extra cost on top, fighters have got to either take a pay cut or we've got to compromise somewhere if they're willing to box and they want me to put a show on. Because, I mean, obviously boxing is my living. I mean, obviously I've got my gym that I do okay with, but boxing's my living. You know what I mean? I'm not a businessman. I'm a boxing man who's been in boxing all his life since 9 years old, and I've obviously done other things, but boxing's my main income now. So I'm not gonna obviously try and earn a living out of boxing and then go and chuck it all into a show and lose my money that I need to rely on for a living. It's just very, very tough. They've got to understand this. We're in a bad situation. I mean, sport in general and the whole world. I mean, look at the mess we're in. I mean, it's not good. It's very sad. I mean, we're all, like I said to people in the past, we're all on about sport and we're all complaining about, you know what I mean, we want to get back to action, but you've got to put in perspective, there's been people dying all over the world. We're in a bad way. So until things get better, we've got to just appreciate and accept the way things are.
Yeah, well, everyone, I think everyone is philosophical and they are accepting it. Well, no, it's not great. But before we let you go, just mention a couple of your fighters. What's happening with Sam Bowen? Is he around in the gym or?
Yeah, well, the thing is with Sam, I mean, obviously he got beat by Kakachi. It's been nearly a year now. It's unbelievable how fast that time has gone. And I don't see a lot of Sam. He lives in Nuneaton, so it's a right trek for him to come to me. It's like an hour and a half. So he's a fitness fanatic, Sam. He's always training. He's got his own gym and he's got a garage. He's got a couple of bags. He's got a good setup, to be fair. And like I say, he's a fitness fanatic. He's always training. He's a fantastic runner. I mean, our time, Steve, I mean, we're into a running, but it makes us look like, you know what I mean? He's unbelievable running. He does like 5Ks, best time 16 minutes 37. You know what I mean? It's freakish how quick he is. But he's a very, very fit kid. But, I mean, he's moved up to lightweight now. I mean, He won the British title. He beat Maxi Hughes quite convincingly. It was an easy night, to be fair. I mean, Maxi said he was weight drained, but Sam was the bigger kid, to be fair. I mean, it's been a battle for Sam to make super featherweight, and we shouldn't have really established himself at super featherweight. We should have gone straight to lightweight, but he won the British title. Yeah, he won the British title, and he defended it. and then he won the WBO Intercontinental. So we kept getting away with it, to be fair. We come up against Kikachi, good fighter, but he had a terrible night. It was a shadow of himself. So we're going to move up to lightweight, but you know, the sad thing is, Steve, we've not had one phone call from Frank Warren's lot offering us anything. They've not once asked us how he is. I mean, it's not good. You know what I mean? I pushed him on to Frank Warren once he become British champion. I've done all the hard work myself. You know what I mean? He invested in Sam. I had a sponsor behind me who invested in Sam as well, Jordan Road Surfacing. And we took him to Frank Warren because obviously I couldn't take him no further. And obviously did a great job with him. Everything was going well. He gets beat. And they've not been interested since, which isn't nice. So, and we want to move him to lightweight. I mean, we'll fight anybody. I mean, look at what Max Hughes has done since he's gone up to lightweight. You know what I mean? He's flying. He beat John O'Carroll. He had that good win out in Dubai. He's ranked in the top 10, 15 in the WBC. And obviously Sam's a forgotten man, but I'm telling you now, and I'm always beating the drum about Sam. He's an exceptional fighter. I'm telling you, he's very, very good. I've been around a lot of fighters over the years, and the man is an absolute animal. I'm telling you, I've seen him in the gym. I've seen him in sparring, and we get him at the right way. I mean, there'll be no stopping him, but I don't know. The longer this is dragging out, and obviously we're into the next year now before we're even talking about him boxing again, he might be the same. He might lose interest. He started a new job now. I mean, he went full-time for the Kikachi fight. Funny enough, he had 14 fights, all working full-time, right up to all the way, and even as a British champion, never got beat, packs his job up, goes full-time, fights Kikachi and gets beat. So it didn't work for him, and then obviously he had to get another job. He packed a job up that he was at for years since a kid, so that wasn't good. And it's just never turned out for the kid, but turned right. But let's get him back at lightweight. Let's just see. I mean, let's see what opportunities there is for him. But the phone needs to ring, and it hasn't, unfortunately.
Just one last one, and I just want to know he's back in the gym. I suppose he's waiting for the phone because he's made a few quid in this lockdown. Dex Spellman, I saw him on holiday after his last fight, spending his dough, and I've seen him modelling some clothes. Yeah, he hasn't become Billy Big Banana since he's headlined a couple of TV shows.
Yeah.
He's not walking around Lincolnshire like, you know, cock of the north, is he?
Yeah, I don't think so. He's not that sort of kid.
I know, yeah, I'm joking.
He likes his Stone Island gear, and he likes to look smart. He's a bit of an Oasis sort of like type kid, and he likes his music, as you know, and that. But he's a great kid, Dick. He's down to earth. He'll fight anybody. You know what I mean? Like you say, he won the English title against Kurt Garvey. Great win in his hometown of Scunthorpe at the Bathsore. We sold it out 1,000 people. I think 800 of them there was there for him. It was unbelievable the night. Had a fantastic win. We could have sat back, and we could have obviously promoted him again locally and defended the English, but we was offered good money to defend against Shakan Pitters on a BT Sport bill. Obviously, he boxed Shakan in the Ultimate Boxer final, and he just thought he had his number over 10 rounds, and it was very, very close. He had Shaq going a few times. He had him out on his feet, but Shaq recovered well, and he boxed well, and he beat Deck on points. Obviously, we went into COVID, and not a lot's been happening. He's not been able to sell tickets, so we've had a couple of opportunities for him behind closed doors, big fights. Obviously, Lyndon Arthur and Anthony Yard. We took the opportunity. He's been paid very well. He hasn't done himself no harm. He put up a good performance. I mean, the Lyndon Arthur fight was just a battle just to make the weight. We had 4.5 weeks' notice, and the weight he had to lose was crazy. So we put that down to that. He didn't perform very well. He got well outboxed on points, lost. It was far better when he boxed Anthony Yard. He was in a better position. He'd been had a little rest out of the gym a week, come back, his weight was still good, and the fight was made £5 heavier, and it was doing well in that fight. I mean, I had him winning 2 of the first 5 rounds, and then obviously Yard turned it on a bit in the 6th round, and he caught Deck with a few good shots, a few clubs round the back of the ear. Deck took a knee to recuperate and get his senses back, got up ready to go, and the ref stopped it, which was disappointing. So he lost a little bit of heart over that. He's been a bit down, but he's back now. He's been back to the gym, but he's not been very well himself, so he's out of the gym at the moment. But he'll be back, and hopefully, ideally, it'd be nice to get him a win. But until we get crowds back, we can't pick and choose. I mean, the only fights that'll get offered is the tough ones, which is the way it is at the moment.
Carl, thanks for talking to us. What a better way of spending 25 minutes on a Thursday or whatever it is with you, mate, eh? One of the old school chaps who always got something to say and something interesting. Thank you.
Yeah, we go back a long way, Steve. I can remember a lot of the times ringside on the Frank Maloney shows, we always had the crack, and we had a good drink a few times. It's been good times, mate. It's great to see you still involved and doing well.
Great to see you, mate, and good to see you doing these 23-minute 5K machine.
Oh, that 21 now, Steve. I'm getting close to my 19 minutes from back in the day, but I don't think I'll touch them. It's wrecking me now, Steve. I'm giving myself a target every week, and I tell you what, it's killing me, but I'm just determined to get through that brick wall, mate. That's what I keep saying to myself. You've got to get through that brick wall.
All right, thanks for speaking to us, Carl.
Right.
For all boxing info, news and latest interviews, amateur and pro, across the north, click and subscribe. VIP Boxing Promotions. Also, Twitter, Instagram and Facebook.